Hello, everyone. Okay, so I see we have our attendees slowly trickling in. Thank you all so much for attending the Caddie Chat, our quarterly webinar where we go over new features that we've released in the last quarter. This last one was a really big one. So I'm just going to give it about one more minute and then we'll go ahead and jump right in. So let's see here. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Nicole Chapman, Director of Training and Education here at Club Caddie. Today, joining me is our first timer, Brendan O'Brien. He is in charge of our MCO implementation. And of course, Michael Rawlins, our VP of Product. And we're again focusing on our Q1 new features, new releases that we have released the last quarter. Just some housekeeping things to address is we do have an upcoming managed marketing webinar on June 17th, and this is just going to go over smarter ways to market, market strategies, and things like that. And that will be with Sean and Jody. Really great minds right there. So definitely encourage you both, or not you both, you all to attend. Also upcoming, be on the lookout. We will be hosting a 2.0 browser webinar to showcase and give some little insights to our browser and F&B applications and how those work together. Those will be in July. And then secondly, if you do have a question, and we highly encourage you to ask questions along the way, you can go ahead and use the chat feature in this Zoom webinar. We will see them first. If the questions don't necessarily pertain to the topic at hand, or if it's going to require a little bit more in depth, we may skip it, but we'll send it to our customer success rep who will reach out to you directly. And that also goes with any questions that came in during your registration process. There was a very particular question or kind of a niche question. We will send those to our CS team who will be sure to follow up as well. So be on the lookout for those emails. And lastly, in the last 10 minutes, if we don't answer your questions during the webinar, we will go ahead and save 10 minutes at the end to review any questions that have not been answered. So if you wait patiently, I promise we'll try and get to all of them best we can. So I believe to start us off, we have Michael. And just as a reminder, one of our fun facts is we are, our whole shtick is that we were built by operators for operators. Michael comes from a huge background of golf on the green grass side, Brennan as well, and myself. So we've all kind of lived the shoes that you guys are in. We understand it, we've experienced it, and we have that mindset. So I'll go ahead and pass it to Michael.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. I will go ahead and share my screen here. Let me know if everybody can see this. You good?
We are good. I see it.
All right, perfect. So today we're going to be going through version 5.4.41 of Club Caddie. So this will encompass everything that was released over the past quarter. And I'm going to start in the customers module. So we'll be looking at a few things regarding customers and members. We've made quite a few really nice changes here. Changes, enhancements, new functionality. So we're going to be looking at my profile in our demo course. So first thing here, a few things just on the general info tab of the customer profile. We added this member since date. So the first time that I was signed up for a member class at Bushwood Golf Club was 3/24 of 2018. So I've been a member for a long time. Just a nice little reminder, if you do have any loyalty programs based on how long someone has been a member at your club, you can easily find that here. This is also included in the export for your members. And then we have the member status field here. We've had this pretty much forever, but we did add the color coding for active, suspended, and expired. So active is green, and then suspended and expired are both red.
You know, a really good use case for this that we used to use for that would be in the shop. If you have somebody that's new to maybe a program that you have, explaining your rules or any kind of niche things that you have, this is a great way to identify, oh, this is somebody new to our facility. And that way you can make sure that they know the information that somebody new should know. So I know this was a big one for when I worked at the privates too.
Yeah, for sure. And then if we go into the membership tab of the customer profile here, we can go into the ledger sub-tab. And so one thing that we've seen a lot of through the implementations over the past few years is that sometimes people make mistakes when charging things to member accounts, or they assign a class improperly, and they have to go in and refund or void a transaction. And they really, if you do a bunch of those for a single member, then they have 10 or 15 or 20, hopefully not that many, incorrect transactions on their invoice. And then the member calls and you have to explain to them, hey, we made a mistake, we voided it, it didn't impact your balance. Uh, we we heard that a lot over the last couple of years. So we created this tool here. For example, this $6,188 charge. If I wanted to hide this on an invoice, I can just go to the right to the action. I can hide this on the invoice, and then that would no longer show. Maybe I'd want to do it for this voided transaction here as well. So we have this 2496, and then the void of that, we don't want that to show. So just a really nice tool to be able to make your member invoices nice and clean. Again, this is probably one of the most highly requested feature enhancements that we've gotten over the past couple of
Your
years.
accounting department is going to thank you tremendously so they don't get the call on the weird thing seen on that bill. So.
Yeah. And then probably the second most requested feature was regarding our adjustment tools for memberships for the ledgers. So previously, if you had, someone bought a shirt and the shirt had tax and then service charge, you'd have to do essentially three different adjustments to get that to zero out and go to all the proper GL codes, GL accounts. So now when you click on an adjustment here, you can see that we have the base amount for the adjustment, and then we can also do the tax group that's going to be credited, and also the service charge percentage and service charge tax group. So you can go through and say, hey, this was for $100. Let's say wrong charge. And this is going to go to merchandise sales, and we're consider against previous invoice. We had sales tax here, service charge of 20%, and service charge tax group for sales test. So the grand total is 126, even though the amount of the shirt was 100. We incorporate the tax, the service charge, and the service charge tax all in one adjustment rather than going in. Do a date here. Rather than going in and doing this 4 separate times. So really quick, just some really nice enhancements particularly on the member side in the customer profile, but really, really worthwhile enhancements that a lot of people have been asking for quite some time. So yeah, that's what's new on the customer and member side. And I think we'll kick it over to Brendan to talk about some of the register enhancements.
Thanks, Michael. So a portion of the enhancements that were made in this most recent update have some implications on some register items. So the first one I'm going to go through today is price overrides in the register. So this is essentially your true prompt for price on an item. So in the register, a good example is going to be open food. If you have an open key button that you want to be able to have flexible pricing in, with this new enhancement, you can select that open food. Then you will be able to key in your price. So if this is $25, you can key in that open price. Then it will pull through to the register as the sale price for that item.
Brendan,
This will then allow you to do quantities. So if I have a big tournament for open food, I need to charge that by 100 people. You can then enter that quantity of 100, add it to that $25 item.
So, wasn't another one for like specialty order items? I think that was another really good use case for this. For those specialty order items, you can key in the price accordingly as well.
100%. Because a lot of people will create separate items in the system for special orders. So if you have a driver at one price point, an iron at another price point, and special orders obviously always fluctuate in price. A lot of times none of them are ever the same. So this could allow you to have one button for special order. Then, your customer comes in, hey, I'm picking up my driver. You can then just key in the amount that he owes you for that special orders instead of having 15 different special order buttons in your register.
Oh, that's some nice flexibility. That's a good one for sure.
Yep, very nice one. And just to kind of a how-to on how to do this. So either in the inventory center or you can right click on the item, hit edit inventory. On the back end, actually setting up this item, there will now be a toggle in the bottom right corner that says allow price override and registered. And if you do toggle that on, that will allow you to prompt for price on that item. So that is how you would enable that for any items at your facility. The next item we're going to go through is pertaining to tabs with your servers. So in the system, there is a setting where you can prevent your servers from clocking out when they have open orders. How we have enhanced that setting is that now bleeds over to the shift closeout. So a lot of people, will not use our software for clocking in and clocking out. So that setting kind of becomes irrelevant because if you're not clocking in, clocking out, they can still leave with those open tabs. So if your employees are doing a shift and close, that tool is now carried over to that. So if I go to my tools section in the register and I go to shift closeout and I put in my PIN, let me open up a tab real quick. Here we go. I have a tab. And I'll just add an item onto that tab. And then I'm going to move that into my pull tabs as an open tab. So when I go to do that shift closeout, it's going to say I have 3 sales tabs open, so it will not let me pass this point with the setting enabled. So I will either I'll have to come in and transfer those to another employee by selecting that button, or I can go in and actually close out that tab. That way, when your staff is leaving for the day, you can make sure none of those tabs are sitting out in limbo. And then you have a bunch of orders stuck in your pull tabs for the next couple of days that were never actually closed out when that server or bartender left for the day.
Such a good checks and balances. That's a good one.
For anyone that would like to implement that at their facility, if I go into settings, and then I go to register settings, there is a setting down at the bottom, restrict employee clock -shift closeouts with open tabs. That will enable that setting at your facility. And that will take in both the point of sale and the food and beverage app if you happen to use the food and beverage app at your facility. Another enhancement to the register. This is more going to be for like snack bar operations or order heavy facilities. Is we have enabled to auto send if you pay off the order. So if I have an item, let's say it's going to be a chicken noodle soup, that item is able to be sent. So the new setting, if I come in and pay off this transaction, it will auto fire that back to the kitchen without having to actually hit that send button once the order is completed. So that order is now sent back to the kitchen. So anybody that has a snack bar, quick grab and go stuff, and those orders are being sent back to the kitchen. It's more transactional versus sitting down at a table. It's a great tool to use. This is a terminal setting. So you do not have to use this on all of your terminals. So if you do use some table side options, you don't have to do it necessarily on those. But you can do it on like your snack bar terminal, your bar terminal, all those kind of quick, I'm paying at the counter, and that order needs to go back. Just to show you how you would implement that setting, if I go back into the settings, we go to terminal management. Within the terminal, you'd want to turn it on in. You can select edit, And down here at the bottom, there will be a toggle for automatically sent order for preparation after payment, and that will enable the setting on your terminal.
Yeah, and one thing real quick here, Brendan, it's this setting is definitely the most ideal for like quick grab and go type transactions. You know, you're getting a hot dog at the turn. You don't want to have to hit send and then hit pay. It's just extra clicks. But we've also found that with some clients, even in like the heavy, like traditional food and beverage terminals, they're turning this setting on just in case they forget to send something, and then they go and pay for it. It will still send those items that have not been sent back to the kitchen, right? So it's kind of like a safeguard if you forgot to send something by actually hitting the send button. When you go to pay for it, it will send those things back. So hopefully you can get it to the customer before they leave. So.
And I was going to say, if you haven't been in your terminal settings here in a while, there has been a lot that has been added to terminal settings. So definitely take a look and see what kind of thing you can do at a terminal level if you haven't taken a peek at that recently.
For sure. Yeah, a lot has changed in those terminal settings in the last, 6 months to a year. So
Yeah.
a lot to be added there. A couple of the other things that we had enhancements on the register. A couple are just receipt based. So if anyone is using a cloud printing solution, we have enhanced the cloud print receipts that print out. A couple just display layout formats just for easeability of reading and understanding those receipts and so that they look better. Another one pertaining to that cloud print is for those tickets that are actually sent back to the kitchen. So if you are using cloud print solution in your kitchen, we did enhance the modifier size on the font as well as the special instructions. That way, when those orders go back to the cooks in the kitchen, they can easily read those special instructions or modifiers that are being sent back on those items. And there was one more receipt enhancement that was done, not pertaining to specific cloud printers, but if your facility is using loyalty transactions that have loyalty associated with them, now show the order balance or the loyalty balance of what they earned, as well as the balance on their account after that transaction. So I have a demo of that receipt. So I'll pull that over here and zoom in on this. So this order I have loyalty on. So at the bottom of the receipt, you can see I have earned 14 points of loyalty from this transaction. And now my balance is a little over 5,100, which is quite a few loyalty points I've got over there.
Yeah, you got to spend some of that.
I was going to say, you're buying dinner.
Yeah, probably spend some of those sometime soon. So just a couple little enhancements on the receipt pertaining to loyalty if you're using that at your facility.
I was going to say, with receipts, there's a lot of settings and toggles and things that you can choose. So I highly encourage you head to the knowledge base and you can look up and see the different setups you can do for receipts. There's just so many options depending on your facility, what you want to see, what you don't want to see, how this kind of thing, transparency. So when you hand the receipt, they can know this is what's left. But definitely take a look because right now there's a lot of options. So check it out and see make sure you set it up the way you want.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up the enhancements and new features that are in the register. I'm going to pass it back over to Michael, and he will go over what we have added in the settings.
And I was going to say, just a reminder, if you have any questions about these features along the way for explaining them, sometimes for us they're quick for us because we've gone through them quite enough. But if you do have please ask a question. We'll stop. We'll answer it. So I highly encourage you. You can use your question and answer option, and it can be just between us. Or if you want to put it on the chat, you can do that as well.
Yep. Perfect. All right. Let's share this back here. All right. So we're going to go over some new controls that we put in place for settings, everybody's favorite topic. This is where everything gets organized and it literally impacts every part of the system that people use on a day-to-day basis. So it may not be the most exciting, but these things that we're going to go through here definitely have real impact on how things work day to day. So First, we're going to start in the inventory center in settings and in inventory modifier groups. So if you use modifiers on any of your items, probably, most likely in food and beverage, this enhancement for the modifier sorting and display sequence is probably going to ring true to you, and this is going to be, you'll actually be able to use this right away. So what we did is we just alphabetized any of your modifier categories, modifier groups that you have. You may say, Michael, why is promotions at the top? That doesn't start with an A. That should be at the bottom. If we go into manage category, we can see that we are now able to set display sequences for the groups, right? So this is -10, so this is always going to show first. And then we actually have display orders for the individual options for your modifiers. Before it was just whatever order you entered in, the house sauce, lettuce, onion, tomato, that's how they were. But now you can change the order in which they show. This will relieve a lot of headaches for all of our clients as well as our implementation team. They used to have to be very meticulous on how they imported or entered everybody's modifiers in to make sure that they got them in the right order. But now we can just do the display sequence and we can set them up however you want. So I know this was a big one for Brendan on the implementation side to be able to reorder these. So
For sure, Michael.
yeah, this is a good one for everybody. So next, we're going to stay in the inventory center, and we're going to go to this far right tab for the pricing schedule. So previously, we had the ability to set a pricing schedule on the individual item level. So if we just go into something really quick here, like this Miller draft, and we go to edit inventory, you can see the pricing schedule here. This is just for this Miller draft. It's on July 12th of 24. We're selling them for $1. Just on Fridays, just on July 12th. So hopefully that was a Friday, so that actually worked. But regardless of that, if we go back to Inventory Center, we can now set pricing schedules based on department, sub-department, category, and the item level. So we have this happy hour pricing schedule here that I created just for today. And if we go into this, you can see this is our happy hour. It applies to the departments of food and drinks. If you click on the search icon here, you can select whatever you want, any department. And then if you don't select any sub-departments, it will apply to all of them. So we went in here and we just checked some of the sub-departments that we want this happy hour discount to apply to, right? We didn't want it on cocktails. We didn't want it on any of our specials or dinners. And then we can even drill down further and go into the category. We don't want it on open food. We don't want it on special pizzas or the kids menu. And then if we really wanted to get granular, we could do it on a mass scale for individual items. So this is a lot of items here. So we just applied it to all of the items in the given categories that we had selected previously. And then what's also nice about this is you can give this to specific classes. So this is member and non-member classes. So this is everything that we have set up in class management, which I'll touch on in just a minute. But if you only want a certain type of member or customer to get these discounts, this is where you would apply that.
Think of all the promotions you can have and all the urgencies and think of all those marketing campaigns, right? That's the nice part about how granular this can get. And I love that feature about this, definitely, because you can create some really good promotions, rewards, and things like that.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that you can do here. The class type, being able to assign it to different classes is really gives you a lot of flexibility there. So then we could do, start date, end date, start time, end time, and then we're going to do, for this one, we did just a fixed amount off. You could also do a percentage, decrease or increase. If you wanted to increase pricing for holidays, you can do that as well. And then you can do the days of the week. Obviously, this is only valid for today, but we highlight it every day. Then you save this, and then the nice thing, another nice thing about this is that it just changes the price of the item in the register. So if it was, if we go to this Miller draft, this shows as $3, but this would just, if that $2 discount applied, it would just show as $1 here in the register. So if someone asks how much something is, you don't click on this, it shows three, and then it actually shows one because the pricing schedule's in effect. It would just show as one. So
So there
makes everything.
was, oops, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I love jumping in at the wrong time. So one question did come in. I thought it was an interesting one. I don't believe we have it, but it would be a good enhancement. Is for a long list of sub-departments back in the settings field. Can you select all? Is that an option or not at this time?
So if we go into this, so if we had our departments like food and drinks, if we wanted all sub departments, you wouldn't put anything in here. Just like I didn't do anything for the products here. This is applying to all products. If you wanted it to apply to everything, you would just leave this blank.
Ah, perfect. Okay, so it is the function is there, just not the box, but it'll auto do that, which is great.
Correct.
There,
Yep.
there was one other question that came in earlier, and it was about the void and transactions. Michael, I'm going to wait till the end for that last 10 minutes, and we'll touch base on that one.
Okay.
Just wanted to let you guys know.
Cool. All right. And then the last one here, this goes back to class management, kind of ties into the members and customers. But I think towards the end of last year, maybe the middle of last year, we came out with what we call advanced billing. It's like setting up a custom billing schedule for annual classes. So we have this custom billing class here. It's $1,200 annually. But say I wanted to collect, different portions of that 1,200 throughout the course of the year. If you go to the action drop down here, you can go to custom billing schedule, and you can set up how much you want to collect for this membership in any given month. So we have 25% due in January, so $300. Nothing in February, March. You can see the different amounts that are collected throughout the course of the year. So if you didn't know about this feature, it's really nice. If you don't want your snowbirds to be paying in the winter, you can set it up so they pay everything, when they're actually in town, which is really nice. And then if we go back into my profile here and we go to the membership tab, I got a lot of
One thing on
classes.
that while it's loading, Michael. Also, a good route for this is if you want to do something biannually. So if your annuals want to split it up in two payments, really easy way to do that as well.
For sure. Yep. So if we're in my profile and here's that custom billing class, I can go view edit, and then it will show me on my individual profile what I am going to be paying. So I signed up today. This is the $60 for June. This has already been billed because it was charged to my account when I signed up. And then if you want to change any of these, you can also do that, right? So if I wanted this to be 0 and I wanted this one to be 360, we could do that and we could save it. And it will show you every month throughout for the next 12 months because it's for annual classes and there is an expiration date here, what's going to be billed. And again, you can customize this on an individual level, but it does inherit from what we set up in class management. So another nice tool. I don't think as many people know about the advanced custom billing that we have, but if you want to check it out, this is a really, really cool feature. So yeah, I think that's all I got in terms of the new settings. So I think I will kick it over to Nicole, talk about some reports.
Ooh, I got the easy one, you guys. They can be the easy ones. Okay, give me a second. So these ones are just updates to current reports. So recently we added this category, which is the membership ID column here to our customer spend by department. But what this is really nice and why we added that is now you can easily search, you can group it. You can see which of your customers are spending where and when very easily by doing that. And again, just because this one is set up a little bit differently, to export this, you can go to this little disk here. It's a floppy disk for all of you younger generation. And you can export it into these multiple file formats. But really, you can use this to reward your top players, your top spenders. It's a great way to be able to track and give those benefits to your highest paying or users, which is great. And a great way to just organize that information. So you can also kind of use this information to figure out revenue. If you're ever considering doing minimums, you can see which departments maybe you need to create those minimums for, versus if you have all your customers spending a ton in certain departments, you don't need to worry about that. Maybe they need to spend it more in if you have wine or something like that. So you can get creative with some of this information as well. And the other update to a report was our rounds played report. That's what it was. Forgive me. Let's see, which is gonna be down here. So here we added the class rate name. So this one was I don't know why I put that, but we have the no show and the rain check. This was a big deal because originally rain checks were lumped in with the no shows, but this actually separates them. So now you can really see if you have repeat what we call offenders for no shows, then you can easily identify them versus if they got rained out and they had to do a rain check. So just differentiating the information to make it a little bit more granular. So you can use that information to either discipline or see the difference between the two. So just some nice updates to these reports for you and having some data that you can use for your facility. And that's all I have to share. And I will pass it back to Brendan.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicole. So next section I'm going to review today, let me pull back up my screen share, is going to be the T-sheet. So a few enhancements that we've done on this latest build regarding the T-sheet. First one I am going to go over is employee pin lock. So we have added the pin lock functionality that some of you may use in the register over on the F&B side. We have implemented that into the T-sheet. So what that means is if I want to book a tea time or edit a tea time, it will queue for your pin lock. So if I go in, somebody probably turned it off on me. Give me 1 second. So there is a setting, pin lock for T-sheet, turned on in your register settings. This enables you to have better traceability on your employees. So if you have one generic login for all your employees, John, Jim, Jake, they all use the same login behind the pro shop counter. You can then assign them individual pin locks so you can then trace who canceled this tea time, who made this tea time, who edited this tea time. Any aspect of actually going through and checking in, all of that is ability to be traced via pin locks now. What that filters back into, each tea time we added in the change log, so you will be able to see accurately what employee did what action on this change log via those PIN numbers if you are using generic logins or if you have multiple people working the counter at the same time. Just add some accountability on your staff to see those changes. Another one we do have that was added into the T-sheet. This is going to be more so for our clients that have multiple facilities, multiple courses. You do now have the ability to copy, cut, and paste between facilities or courses. So if we look at the 122 tea time that I've got for 4 players, if you right click, there will be 2 new options in here that says copy for club or cut for club. And these will allow you to move them to other courses or facilities within your management company. So if I hit my cut for club, and then I want to switch over to the Delta 9 course, I can go to that 140 time, and I can hit paste for club. So it will pull up the booking window with the player's information in there. Reason for that is the rates are going to be different between each course and each facility. So you don't want to be able to copy a tea time from one course and paste it onto another course if the rates are different. You want people paying the correct rates over there. So it will default to your rack rate over there. If you need to update it, you can update there. Save that. And they are then going to be on the Delta 9 course. Since I did do a cut, if I go back over to our main Bushwood course, the tea time has been removed from there and moved over to the Delta 9. So cutting, same as always, cutting is going to move it, rip it from the first source and move it to the second, and copying will duplicate it onto the other course. Couple other minor T-sheet enhancements that we did add for our hotkeys up here. We are now going to highlight what day you're on. So if you click Saturday or Sunday, it's now going to highlight in green that you have selected one of those days to show you what day that you're on. We also have added how many days out you are of that day. So if I click on Sunday, I'm 4 days out. That's just going to be a quick key for you and your staff to know for booking window permissions, hey, my members can book 14 days out or 7 days out. I'm 7 days out, they can book that. So if they're ever having, want to see how many days out for booking, quickly can see here up top how many days out you are of the day you have selected on the T sheet. Couple other things that we have done on the T sheet. One is going to pertain to email receipts and printed out receipts for customers. Just a little more detail. So if I look at the receipt here for Tiger Woods, who's already booked and paid for his tea time, we have now added in the course rotation to the T sheet. So if you have a 27 hole facility and then maybe you have a front back middle rotation, it will show you which resources of that front back middle that they are going to be playing that day. So for this tea time for Tiger Woods, you can see 154 playing the front, then they're turning to the back at 354. So it will show the rotation that they are playing. That also has carried over to the email confirmation. So if it's over online booking or point of sale, when the customer does receive that confirmation email, it will show that same course rotation that they're playing. And the last one we have for the T sheet kind of touches back to the rain check comment earlier that Nicole made. So we have made some changes with rain checks. We did add that filter up top so you can break out your rain checks. One thing we have also done is kind of change it so that rain checks remove from the T sheet once those are issued. So for that same Tiger Woods time right here, if I go in and issue a rain check for that group, I'm just going to issue the whole group, full refund, send that back to a rain check. So once that processes, you will see that it's going to remove that from my initial view of the T sheet. And then it's going to show 4 under rain check. So if any of you have ever used our cancellation filter up here to see your canceled tea times, this is going to work pretty much exactly the same. So I can click on that rain check up there. I can see all my rain check times. More so the use case for that is if, people are prepaying for bookings, you're issuing them a rain check, they can't make it, that you can rebook that tea time and utilize your T sheet resources to your best capacity.
Yeah. And then just one other thing real quick that I wanted to add on the T sheet while we're talking about the statuses on top. So the rain check status is something that is relatively new in the Club Caddie T sheet, but we will also be coming out with another new status here in the next month or so that's going to be checked in but not paid for. So anybody that's dealt with this issue knows how big of a headache it can be because you can check in a tea time and it turns green, so it kind of looks like it's paid for, especially when you have 3 resources like Brendan does now pulled up on the screen, but there's no $ next to the tea time until it actually gets paid for. So we'll be coming out with a new status that's checked in but not paid, and then checked in and paid, which will also be reflected in all reports. So I know there's probably a lot of people on this call that have gone through some issues with that status change. So be on the look for that in the next month or so.
And right now, I don't see any other questions. I know a few of you have submitted and we've responded to some of those, but if you have any other questions, please go ahead and send those in. Otherwise, I'm going to say a few last notes. Big thank you to Michael and Brennan, of course. But the big ask right now is we do have a little survey after this. If you could just take a few minutes and let us know how we did. Any feedback. I always love to hear what ideas you might have, what you want to know more about. We're happy to create webinars, trainings, any documentation, anything you need to help support you using the Club Caddie software. Just shoot me an email. It's at Nicole, Nicole, at clubcaddie.com. And we're happy to create that for you. Next is, if you don't know, and I'm just going to share this really quick because I'm the director of education, I need to make sure that everyone is very aware of all of the educational resources we have here at Club Caddie. So if you have not been to our knowledge base, I highly encourage you to check it out. We have been working very diligently on updating and cleaning up our knowledge base, and we have been launching so many features. Sometimes it gets a little hard to keep up. We are actively updating and adding new things all the time. Additionally, my favorite is our Club Caddie University. This is our video training course. This is really great if you have new employees or maybe some seasonal employees that haven't touched the software in a while. Send them here. You can learn and get an idea of the software without you having to physically sit and train them yourselves. So it's a great resource. You can find some other things in there. I did just create a operational handbook, which is a printed version. I think it's 90 pages long, but it is there for you if you prefer a print documentation. So that is a new course that's in there that you can print from as well. And then lastly, we have our webinars. So if you have missed in our last webinars, you can always head to our webinars page and check out the latest and greatest. So just wanted to share that. And lastly, doesn't look like any other questions came in. So just want to say, Michael and Brennan, first timer Brennan here, thank you so much. Everyone else who attended this webinar, we really appreciate it. Your dedication to learning and understanding more about Club Caddie is not unnoticed, and we do very much so love that you guys come to these. So we'll keep doing them, and we hope to see you at the next one. Other than that, I think everyone, we ended this one a little bit early. Oh, we have one question that came in. Ooh, can you tell me if you'll have an integration with Toast in the future? I'm going to pass that one to Michael.
Yeah, so we're always open to integrations. I don't know if we're going to have one with Toast. Our food and beverage app is pretty comparable right now, and we're still continuing to enhance and develop new features for our food and beverage app. So unlikely, but we could be swayed in any direction if the opportunity makes sense. So.
Oh, we're as good as Toast. That F&B app is amazing. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the F&B app, definitely worthwhile because it's pretty comparable, and we're just working on it constantly. The UI is beautiful as well, I have to say.
It is,
so
yeah.
highly suggest if you haven't had a chance. We did do a webinar on it, actually, our last webinar. So you can check out all of that on our webinar page too. So I think no other questions. Everyone, again, thank you so much. Have a great day and keep on learning. All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.